And also, what will happen to the fate of the planet Bardock? We will know all that in the next part of this theory. Thanks for watching the second part of this theory of Goku the Prince Saiyan. Remember to leave your like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see the next part of this theory, the video has to reach 7,000 likes, and I will upload it as fast as I can.
Who were overwhelmed by the
See you in the next
force
video.
Of the legendary Saiyan. Broly's impacts resonated throughout planet Bardock, creating cracks in the ground and raising dust in the air. Goku, surprised by the strength of his opponent, tried to counter the Broly's attacks while a furious Frieza struggled to keep up with the fight. "Hey, explain this," Frieza would say. "I told you I don't know him," Goku would say. Broly would throw a huge K-ball at both of them. A huge explosion would occur on the ground, from which Frieza and Goku would escape. Nothing. Broly would casually arrive at Goku's side, hug him tightly, and begin squeezing him with his chest. Goku was squeezed hard. He screamed in pain, but didn't have enough strength to free himself. "I think it's time to get out of here," Frieza would say. Frieza would see his main ship was being attacked by the Patrol Galactic. "Come on, this has to be a joke," Frieza would say. Frieza would launch several Kia attacks towards the Galactic Patrol soldiers, but Broly would realize in time the intentions of the Emperor of Evil. At that moment, Broly would open his mouth without letting go of Goku. He would launch a large K-beam towards Frieza. Frieza would cross his arms, but he still wouldn't withstand the attack. Frieza, after a huge explosion, would fall to the ground. Even so, thanks to that distraction, Goku would headbutt Braun. That way he would manage to free himself. "Oh, you're really hard-headed," Goku would say. Broly, with no intention of letting go escape Frieza, would go after him. Goku would follow him. He knew that this beast was very dangerous, and necessarily needed Frieza's help because they had rivals in common. In another corner of the battlefield, Paraga was facing Bardock Gigan, who despite their efforts were being overwhelmed by the power of the renegade Saiyan. Gain, rising from the ground after Paraga's brutal attack, Gain charged at him with determination. "I will not allow you to destroy our people," Gain shouted, launching himself at Paragus with a flurry of blows. However, Paragus nimbly dodged his attacks and counterattacked with overwhelming force. Gain fought valiantly, was at a disadvantage due to the overwhelming difference in power. Bardock, trying to help his wife, would confront Paragus in a rage. "You bastard, we should have killed them instead of letting them live," Bardock would say. Bardo and Jain were using all their efforts to attack Paragus, but there was nothing they could do. Paragus neither, he didn't even take it seriously. He enjoyed feeling superior to them. Besides, he had other plans. "I can't believe he got so strong on that planet," Ginnik would say. Frieza and Goku, hopelessly, continued attacking Broly with everything they had. They still couldn't do the slightest damage. The few attacks that connected weren't enough to do anything relevant. "Freer, if we don't do something, this guy will kill us," Goku would say. "Don't talk to me like we're friends," Frieza would say. "Consider it a momentary bond," Goku would say. Meanwhile, the Galactic Patrol continued its attack on Frieza's forces in space. Jocko led the offensive, trying to weaken the defenses of the Tyrant army to make it easier for Broly and Paragus to reach the planet. However, they faced fierce resistance from Frieza's soldiers. In the heat of battle, Broly would increase his power to even more incredible levels. His aura would intensify and his fury seemed to know no bounds. Goku and Frieza, seeing Broly's increasing power, realized that if they didn't join forces, they wouldn't stand a chance of stopping him. "Frieza, will you join me in taking on this guy?" Goku would ask. "Okay, but only temporarily. We'll get back to it later. Our fight." Frieza would accept, aware of the threat posed by Broly. Both would raise their K to the maximum and launch themselves at Broly, unleashing a combination of coordinated attacks. However, Broly defended himself with impressive speed and stamina. The fight would be epic, with powerful explosions of energy lighting up the sky and shaking the planet. Still, Broly had a lot to give, and even with Goku and Frieza fighting in a coordinated manner, it wasn't enough. On the other side of the battlefield, the situation was getting worse for Bardock Gigan. Paragus, taking advantage of his superiority, would launch a devastating attack that would leave them seriously injured on the ground. It seemed that victory was about to fall into Paragus' hands. "With your deaths I declare myself the new king of planet Bardock," Paragus would say. Paragus would charge a large K-ball. He would throw it towards both of them, but one of the soldiers, a scion, would stand in the middle, bearing the brunt of their attack. At that moment, the scion would inevitably die. "Damn busybody," Paragus would say. Several scions would arrive, surrounding Paragus. To him, they were just a waste of time. "Enough," Paragus would shout, performing a key blast that would throw everyone away. The soldiers would be knocked out by the force of the attack. When they looked for Pardojigen, they wouldn't see them. Nappa had taken advantage of the situation. "Damn, they escaped," Paragus would say. Broly had just delivered the final blow to Goku. He would fall to the ground, completely defeated. Frieza was already unconscious. "Broly!" Paragus would shout. Broly would go to his father without hesitation. "We have to find the kings. They escaped," Paragus would say. "Let me kill those two," Broly would say. "I don't understand why it took you so long," Paragus would say. Paragus would see Goku and Frieza in the distance. He would launch a charged ki attack at them, taking advantage of the fact that both were unconscious. A huge explosion would ensue, and then father and son